Anyway, hello everybody. I'm Richard Gon of Work to Live podcast version. So this time, I'm thinking of creating a brief episode, or I'm thinking of creating an episode for of short time or short duration. I don't know whether it's proper to use the word duration for pointing at or for indicating the length of each episode. Anyway, so I'm thinking of this time. I'm thinking of creating a episode of short length. Anyway, so hello everybody. I'm Richard Gon of Work to Live podcast version, and this time, so maybe I should tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode. So the title is "Beautiful Semen, Sperm, Sperm, Sperm," and creation of show the sperm in CFNM porn videos, and the conclusion is a written version or an article of Medium was created. And the subject episode of podcast is not 219. Show the sperm in CFNM porn videos. So this time, this is a kind of an advertisement, and so why I chose this episode show the sperm in CFNM porn videos is that this has grown really popular in my podcast. So anyway, so what I'm saying is that so. Recently, I create written versions or written articles corresponding to or so how should I say I create some written versions for helping the understandings of each episode or episodes of my podcast, which is why so I create the written versions of some episodes of my podcast. Anyway, in my case, or so maybe recently is the correct word, but actually, so when I began when I began to create the episodes of podcast, so I was thinking of that. It was much better for me to create the written versions corresponding to or helping the understandings of episodes of podcast. And so that is because so recently creating articles or blog is really popular, or has already been popular. And some people say that blogs are not earnable anymore, or some people say so blogs are no longer earnable or are no longer beneficial, and almost nobody or only really a small amount of people can make money from writing articles or blog. But actually, so there are some people say that there are some people saying or having such opinions. But actually, so there are still other opinions that in aggregate, or how should I say, so among those similar opinions, so extracting the outline, extracting the outline or extracting the summary of those similar opinions. So creating just one really good one or really good article is really beneficial for the writers of blogs. There are some people who have such opinions, and in general, of course, each person has slightly different opinions, which is how human beings go. So anyway, but actually, extracting the essence, or extracting the summary of those similar opinions, similar each other. So the outline is stuff like the outline is creating just one, having really high quality is really good for writers of blogs. Anyway, so which is why, so how should I say, for compensation or compensating the contents of of episodes of podcast or the contents of podcast. So I thought it was beneficial, or it might be anyway good for me as a writer of Medium to create the written versions for accounting for or corresponding to the episodes of my podcast, and which is why I extract some popular episodes and create some compositions or some articles for Medium or for my blog, which is how I have created this episode. And and let me come back to the title. Well, particularly, I'd like to talk about why I wrote these words in the section of title. And this stems from, or this manner stems from a Japanese haiku. And to start with, so maybe you do not know what haiku means. And haiku is a type of short form poetry. And anyways, haiku is a form of poem. Poet is a writer of poems. And anyway, so haiku is a Japanese type or Japanese manner of writing poem, or haiku is a poem, which is how I think it's fine to understand anyway. And so there is a famous haiku, and that famous haiku is Matsushimaya, Matsushimaya, and the title stems from that previous haiku created hundreds of years before the creation of this episode anyway. So maybe it says that the author of Matsushimaya is said to be the author of that poem is said to be Basho Matsuo, who was really a famous poet maybe. But actually, of course, he deceased, or he passed away hundreds of years before. And there is another theory that the author of that famous haiku that famous haiku was created by another person different from Mr. Basho Matsuo. And so the meaning literal meaning is what I can tell you, and the literal meaning of Matsushimaya is, and there is an island, or there are islands named Matsushima or Matsu Island, and Matsushimaya is created because those islands are really beautiful, too beautiful for the author to express verbally, or changing the, or expressing, or converting the beauty, or converting the emotion caused by watching those beautiful islands into language, into human language was really difficult, which is what has been taught, or which is what has been rumored or talked about that all the poem anyway. So, and which is why so that the author created in Matsushimaya in such a manner, like there are maybe three words contained in that poem. So maybe it's difficult to calculate the number or the quantity of words in that poem. Anyway, so I and which is why, and anyway I used this poem as a model for the title of this episode. And so why I created this title is, so this time I created the written version of Show the Sperm in CFNM phone videos. But actually, maybe there may be many people who like to see the sperm, so the semen inside the mouth, or inside the mouth of women or women, and there are some people who want to watch or who want to see the sperm or semen ejected into the mouth or into the mouths of beautiful women or beautiful women respectively. So which is why, this I think this episode of podcast grew popular, and which is why, I decided to create the written version for this podcast episode. And so to check out the written version of this episode, to check out the written version of the written version I have created this time. So please access the description column of this episode so that you can find out the link leading to the written version I created this time. And another news is that this time I'm thinking of pasting or writing the link of the past podcast I created in the past, and so to check us that episode of podcast for which or corresponding to which I created an article of Medium this time, and so to check out that episode of podcast I created in the past. So please check out the description column of this episode so that you can access that past episode of podcast. So anyway, there's nothing else I can tell you this time, so let me tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode. The title is Beautiful Semen, Sperm, Sperm, Sperm. And the recreation shows the sperm in CFNM videos, and the conclusion is the written version, an article of Medium was created, and the subject episode of podcast is Note 219 shows the sperm in CFNM videos. So I'm thinking of writing the link of the written version I have created this time into the section or into the space of related contents. So essentially I created some space named related contents, and from which I'm thinking of leading people interested in that written version to the written version I created this time. So by which you can what you can read by accessing to that written version is an article of Medium. So which is fine. So anyway, please enjoy that article, including this episode of podcast. By the way, so if you'd like to change the poem in the title section into another form, so by using this same form, so for example you can convert that poem into for example so semen as semen or semen or sperm or semen, maybe if you'd like to use other words or the other word and another word sperm is semen. So which is why if you'd like to use the word semen for creating the poem by using the same form or the same format of that past Japanese poem I introduced this time. So it's fine to create, for example, semen or stuff like that. You can it's up to your preference anyway. Anyway, I forgot to tell you this, but actually, so this time, so for creating the written version of one episode of podcast in the past, so I created this written version in this present time, and which is July in 2022. Anyway, so this time I reorganized in that when I was creating the written version of that past episode of podcast. So reorganized the past episode of podcast into the organized written version as an article of Medium. And so another stuff is that so I said in in the middle or in the beginning of this episode, or I might be, no, I might have told you that, so I might have spoken out the word for compensation or compensate, but actually, so, I think, compliment can be a suitable word for, imagining, so the purpose that I created that written version of the first episode, and so I created that written version as a compliment, and the spelling of compliment is anyway. So E is used. There are two words having the same pronunciation, and complement is a compliment I pronounced, and so So if you find compensate not proper word, wrong word for explaining for, or so I thinking about the purpose of my creating of podcast. If you find the word compensate a wrong word, so please understand I created that written article as a compliment for supporting the understanding of the podcast episode. Thank you very much for your listening. See you.